Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we are talking about number 160, The Sixth Sense, which is a drama mystery thriller film from 1999. And this has an 8.1 on 884,747 votes. I also think that it should be considered horror.
It should be.
That was just the three. No, just the three genres that are on IMDb: drama, mystery, thriller. But it's definitely a horror film as well.
I would agree. Yeah, it should be considered horror also.
Yeah, it is horror as well. It's definitely more horror than Diabolique, so it's horror. So the mystery line we're revealing today is from The Deer Hunter. That line was, "May the Force be with you." And I am disappointed to say that nobody guessed. I feel like it was just too easy. They're like, there's no point in trying. I don't know. I
guess.
But yeah, it's from Star Wars if you didn't know that. So, if you didn't know that, then you need to watch some Star Wars movies.
Seriously.
Literally any Star Wars movie. So then we only had one color left. So the mystery line for this one is "Get busy livin' or get busy dyin'."
Nice one.
Yeah. And that one is from a movie that is on our list. So that's the only hint you're going to get for that one. So, the spoiler-free synopsis for The Sixth Sense. Young Cole Sear is haunted by a dark secret. Cole is frightened by visitations from those with unresolved problems who appear from the shadows. He is too afraid to tell anyone about his anguish except child psychologist Dr. Malcolm Crowe. As Dr. Crowe tries to uncover the truth about Cole's supernatural abilities, the consequences for client and therapist are a jolt that awakens them both to something unexplainable. Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Alright, so this is directed by M. Night Shyamalan. He's done a bunch of other movies, but I picked Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. There are three of them he's done.
It's a trilogy.
I know. That's why I did it.
I know. Say only one of those is worth watching, in my opinion.
I'm like, which one is it?
Split. Split was so good.
That's what I thought.
Split was so good.
I figured it'd be that one. And this stars Bruce Willis, Haley Joel Osment, and Toni Collette.
Yeah. I'd say the only other movie, because I've seen a few of M. Night Shyamalan's movies, the only other ones really that I like, The Happening is alright. That one's not bad. And then Signs, that's the other one that's not bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, Split is, of the three that you said, Split is the one most worth watching. I've seen all three of them, so that's just...
So you know.
Yeah. So the ratings for this, on IMDb, 32.9% of users rated this at an 8. On Metacritic, it has a 64%. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has an 86% on 156 critical reviews. So two of the fresh. Stephen Hunter, you leave slightly a squirm. You know it will linger. It becomes a clammy, chilly movie building towards a revelation that you cannot predict. As I say, I cannot tell you. You'd hate me if I did. I can only say, don't look now, but look sometime. Okay.
Okay.
That's his way around saying that he really did like the big reveal.
Yeah. I mean, it's a trademark of Shyamalan's movies that there's some kind of twist in the movie. So, it's just his trademark. That's all you gotta say. That's all I'm saying.
I'm saying there wasn't really in Split that I remember. I've seen that movie a couple times, and there's not one, not like in this movie, so. So Carrie Rickey. So transparent is Osment as an actor, and so rare that the pain on his face stabs you in the heart.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah, I like him. But I also like him for things he's done in, like, not this movie. So then Too Rotten, Bill Gallo. Beyond these startling apparitions, there's a surplus of mumbo-jumbo in here and some ludicrously false notes. I don't even think that the apparitions are that startling.
It's the music more that does it.
Yeah. He does a couple of jump scares.
Yes.
But, I mean, they didn't, like, go all out and make them super gory. There's only a couple that have some bad gore to them, at least in the sense of the ones in this movie.
Yeah, there's been way worse.
Yeah. Diana Stetko. Another could have been film, another almost successful compromise, another intelligent flick done in by its misplaced and worn out star. So they're saying they did not like Bruce Willis in this.
They're not a Bruce Willis fan.
And say this is before he really went downhill and didn't care much about his movies anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're talking about there, lady. So the consensus for this one. M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense is a twisty ghost story with all the style of a classical Hollywood picture, but it's all the chills of a modern horror flick. I don't know if that's supposed to be good or bad.
I mean, I guess I can kind of agree with that. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
So the money for this, the budget was $40 million. Opening weekend, it made $26,681,262. Domestically, it made $293,506,292. Internationally, it made $379,300,000 for a worldwide total of $672,806,292. And then the top adjusted lifetime gross, adjusted to 2020, is number 74. Top lifetime grosses, not adjusted, is number 92. And then top lifetime grosses for a PG-13 movie is number 59. I do have a trivia about, like, how much money it made later, so.
Okay. That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it made a lot of money. I think it was one of the highest grossing for the year of 1999. Not the highest, I think there's something else, but it is up there pretty high.
Yeah.
And then the awards. This was nominated for 6 Oscars, but did not win any. Then it won 36 other awards. And then had 49 other nominations. So, the awards that it was nominated for the Oscars: Best Picture, Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Haley Joel Osment; Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Toni Collette; Best Director, M. Night Shyamalan; Best Writing Screenplay written directly for the screen, M. Night Shyamalan; and Best Film Editing. So, let's talk about these for a sec. I really, like, my wholehearted opinion for this, the 2 actors should have gotten it. The only problem I had with Toni Collette's performance is sometimes her accent slipped, but I think because it was early in her career and she actually has a really heavy Australian accent. So I noticed her accent did slip a couple times. And then There's nothing against Haley Joel Osment. Like, he should have won.
I'm like, I was looking at who he's nominated with. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Michael
Caine.
Caine.
A pretty stiff competition there.
And say Michael Caine, Jude Law, Tom Cruise, and Michael Clark Duncan. And yeah, I personally, in my opinion, I think it should have been either Haley Joel Osment or Michael Clark Duncan. It should have been either of those. Michael Caine won it. And I love him. He is great. But I haven't seen that movie, The Cider House Rules, so I don't know. But yeah.
I agree.
Should have been either of the two of them for The Sixth Sense or The Green Mile. Because both of their performances in those two movies were just insane. And then Toni Collette lost out against Angelina Jolie for Girl Interrupted. Never seen that movie, so I have no idea. But like I said, my only problem with Toni Collette's performance in this was there were a couple times that her accent slipped. Not her normal talking voice, like not her Australian accent, but she was trying to do kind of like a northeastern, like, you know, up there in that area, like New York, Philadelphia, Boston. I mean, there's different accents there, but she was trying to do something in that area, and she would do it sometimes, and then other times she wouldn't. So I did notice that. But I mean, other than that, I loved her performance.
She's a great actress.
Yes. And then, let's see, Best Picture. Where is it at?
It's near the bottom. It's American Beauty.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. So the other nominees, American Beauty, The Green Mile, The Insider, and The Cider House Rules. Of those, I've only seen this one and The Green Mile. I've been saving American Beauty because I had no interest in it really much before, but then now it's on the list, so I'm just saving it. I haven't seen it, so I don't know why it won. I'm hoping maybe it'll prove itself, but I honestly think it should have been The Green Mile because I absolutely love that movie. But we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we could be like, oh, well, never mind.
Yeah. So, Golden Globes. It was only nominated for 2. Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role in a Motion Picture, Haley Joel Osment. And then Best Screenplay Motion Picture, M. Night Shyamalan. Those were the nominees, but it didn't win either of them. My guess is he lost out to one of those movies that it was nominated for in this one. And then it was nominated for 4 BAFTA awards. Best Film, Best Screenplay, M. Night Shyamalan, Best Editing, and then David Lean Award for Direction, which I think is just their Best Director award, M. Night Shyamalan. So, just based on that, you can probably tell what all the other awards are for.
Probably.
So, initial thoughts.
I remember the first time I watched this. It was like right after it came out. And this is like my first introduction to M. Night Shyamalan's movies. So I didn't know his style. And I'm like watching and everything. And then there's that twist at the end. And I'm like, what? So that kind of just, I will say, it irritated me. And it's just, I have this thing against his movies. I do. I'll admit it. I don't watch his movies just because of his directing. There's probably some good ones. I mean, this is probably like one of the better ones of his movies. I will say that.
There's
some other ones. Like, I will say Signs is probably my least favorite. Yeah. That one just completely pissed me off. But, you know. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to forget. Like, you know, it's his movie when I watch it this time again. And so that helped, actually, forgetting who directed it.
Sometimes I just do that anyways because, because you don't see the director. I mean, if you know the director's style and you know that they directed it, then yeah, you see the director. But, and then of course, he likes to have a cameo in all of his movies. So you see him. I know who he is. Yeah, I know what part he likes to play in his movies. So I know. He's the doctor in this one. Yes. He likes to play doctors. But, you know, if you just, like, turn that part of your brain off, like, this is an M. Night Shyamalan movie, then you can, like, get around that. Because there's sometimes...
this time.
Because there's sometimes, like, I'll go into a movie knowing it's a director I like, and then I'll be like, I'll just turn my brain off and be like, okay, I don't know who the director is. And sometimes that makes me not like the movie. Just, like, turning my brain off and not knowing who the director is. So it can be for good or for bad, so...
It helped this time.
That's good.
Because it's been a long time since I'd seen it. Mostly because I put it off since, you know, I'm not a fan of his movies. So I shut that part of my brain off, and I was like, hey, you know what? Just watch it just to watch it.
Yeah.
And I liked it better this time.
Okay.
I did remember the twist. I did.
I feel like
It took me a little bit, but I remembered it. And so I was watching it with that in my mind, and it helped a bit.
I was watching it. I always watch it with that in my mind because I, like, try and find the hints.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, too. And it was much better this time for me, which I think, yeah, just shutting that part off really helped. So I was very happy with Haley Joel Osment because he was just really good. And so was Bruce and Tony. And there were some jump scares, I will admit it. I jumped at, like, one part. I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, there's...
Because most of the time I'm really good about, like, catching it, but that time I didn't. I was like, damn it.
There's a couple in this one that are pretty good because it's before... I mean, it's right there in the 90s when jump scares were, like, that's all anybody did. So he did a good job of disguising it, kind of like, you know, the 80s slashers, how they would disguise most of their jump scares so that you wouldn't know it's coming. He did a good job of doing that in this one.
Yeah. It was much better for me this time. It really was.
Okay.
I will admit that.
I don't remember the first time I watched this. I know I was young because it had to have been, like, right after it came out. And, I mean, for me, I watch movies like this all the time, especially when I was younger. I would watch any horror movie that I could get my hands on. I mean, this one's PG-13, so, of course, I was able to watch this one no problem. I loved it the first time I watched it. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Because I don't think I've seen it since I moved to Colorado. So that's been 10 years. Wow. So it's been a while. I mean, I always remember the twist. This is not one that I can forget the twist on. And then there were some things that I forgot. Like, I remembered there being more dead people. I don't know why. Like, I just remembered seeing more dead people. But, I mean, we only really see a few. Yeah. For some reason, I remember a kid with an axe in his head. Like, I was waiting for Cole's tormentor I could have swore that he had, like, an axe through his head. Like... You know, like those things where you are so convinced that it's true that you see it no matter what until somebody points it out that it's not there. Like Pikachu's black streak on his tail, how everybody thinks he had a black streak, but he really never did.
He doesn't.
Yeah. That's how I felt about this one with that Tommy kid getting an axe through his head. Like, we don't see it, but, you know, you see his ghost, and I just swear. And I don't know, maybe it was a different movie that kid was in. I don't know. But I could have swore that he was in this movie, and he got an axe through his head, and he was alive the whole time. And I'm like, what? So I was a little confused, but... I mean, I really like this movie. I think the twist is great. And, like, if you don't know it's coming, you're just like, what?
Yeah. That's why I remember my first time with that. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was just, like, so baffled.
Yeah. I think the only other thing is there was a couple of plot holes that I noticed this time. But, I mean, if you have seen a movie multiple times and you're able to follow the story, you can start picking some plot holes because I've seen this movie so many times, especially when I was younger. But yeah, I like this movie a lot. It's very enjoyable. I think it's really well done. I don't understand why it's not classified as horror, because it definitely has those elements to it.
Like, it's horror. Let's not lie.
It should be classified as horror. I think pretty much everywhere except for IMDb, it's classified as horror. So yeah, that's all I got.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, that was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then stop listening and come back after you've watched it. So we start off, we get to see Bruce Willis and his wife. I don't remember what his wife's name. Anna, I think. Yeah. They're kind of hanging out, having a night to themselves. It looks like maybe they just got home from some award ceremony or something.
Because she's reading this plaque that they put right there.
Yeah.
It's like from the mayor or something for his work in, like, psychology.
Yeah. And I did have a note as she was reading this. I was like, there are so many movies on our list that are based in Philadelphia. And I was just like, oh my god. I never realized it until we started, like, going through this, how many movies are based in Philadelphia. It's crazy.
I was like, I'm yeah, there's a few of them.
Yeah. Sure. But yeah, so they're just kind of hanging out and they're getting kind of tipsy. Or have been tipsy. So they head to the bedroom and Anne is going over and she goes over to the window. I don't know, maybe she was going to open it or something, but she notices that it's broken. So she calls Malcolm over and then we see kind of some sort of shadow behind him move. And so Malcolm goes over to the bathroom and we get a very young, very skinny Donnie Wahlberg, who is Mark Wahlberg's brother.
I was like, I didn't recognize him at first because he's so skinny.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him either. He's also a member of New Kids on the Block. Yeah, so...
I was like, we're aging ourselves a little bit here.
Yeah. But he is... Apparently he used to be a client of Malcolm, and Malcolm didn't help him, so he came to get payback for not being helped. And his problem was he had been diagnosed with... because his parents were separating, so he was having a hard time with that. I don't remember exactly the diagnosis, but it ends up being the same diagnosis for Cole later. It's like almost the same exact situation. And, you know, Malcolm is trying to help him, but this dude, he's like, I don't care anymore. Like, we're done. So he shoots Malcolm, and then he turns the gun on himself, and we don't see it because camera's focusing on Malcolm, but we do hear another gunshot, so you can only assume that he's dead.
I mean, he shot himself in the head, so you're just good guess there.
Yeah, because he turns the gun to his own mouth area. So, then it says the next fall. So this is where, like, my plot hole comes in, is, like, how long of a time period this is. And once we get to the end, I'll come back to it. This is, like, my major one that I'm just like, well, how long is it? So it could be, my guess is, like, anywhere from 6 months. Like, it could have been late winter, so, like, February, early March, when it's still, like, kind of snowy and stuff, to, like, around September, October. Or it could have been early winter, because you could tell it was kind of cold just based on, like, the outside and stuff, what little you saw. So, like, that time period of where it says the next fall, I'm just like, I want to know how long that time period is.
Yeah, it really doesn't say, like,
it could
be... have been way long. It could have been way short.
Yeah.
Depends.
Could have been, like, 10 months. It could have been 6 months. Like, you don't really know. So I want to know how long that time period is. But so, we see him. He is sitting outside, Malcolm is, outside this little boy's apartment. And he's got the file in front of him. And you noticed he's got some notes and he's got some circles around some of the same issues that he had just talked about with Vincent, or we just saw him talk about with Vincent. He's distant. He doesn't really like talking to people. He's going through his parents' divorce.
It's like social anxiety.
Yeah.
It's like, oh goodness.
So he's apparently, this is supposed to be his new patient. He's 9 years old. But he missed their appointment, I guess. And so we see Cole coming out, and Malcolm, like, looks down at his notepad, and then he looks back up, and Cole is gone. And then he's just chasing him down the street. And I'm just
following
like,
this kid. I'm like, that's not weird at all.
yeah, I'm like, you're chasing a kid down the street. That's not a good thing to be doing.
No, at all.
Um,
Kid sneaks into a church.
yeah. And so he follows him in there, and he introduces himself and wants to talk to him. And the kid's like talking. He tells him some phrase in Latin, which was it ended up he translated it out later. Out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord, is what it translated to later. And so that kind of worries Malcolm a little bit.
Yeah, he's telling the kid about the sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
Which made me think of Hunchback.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I just heard about that in Hunchback.
And the Cole is wearing glasses, but the lenses aren't in them.
Yeah.
And they were his dad's.
Yeah.
He said the lenses were hurting his eyes. Like, well, you don't need glasses.
Yeah, if you don't need glasses, you don't need the lenses, because they will definitely hurt your eyes, because you're straining to see. So, that's just like, if I don't have my glasses on, my eyes hurt because I'm straining to see.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So we get to see a little bit of Cole kind of like going through school and stuff, and his tormentor, Tommy, I believe.
Yeah.
They walk to school every day, and I'm just like, I don't understand that. Like, if he is tormenting you and like always messing with you, then why do you walk to school with him? But I guess it's one of those things, like, his mom doesn't really know. Not yet, anyway. She does find out at the birthday party.
Yeah.
But so, they go to school, and then the teacher, he's discussing the school and, like, the history of Philadelphia, asking what the school used to be, and Cole's like, they used to hang people here. And people already consider him a freak without him saying that, and then he just goes and says that, and I'm just like, yeah, you should just sit back there and be quiet. That's what I did in class. I just sat back there and was quiet, but I didn't talk to dead people, so that's different for me. But the teacher is like trying to tell him, no, that's not, it was courthouse, and then I'm like, so yeah, they hung people. Like, that's what my mind immediately jumps to, knowing, like, all of the history of our country and having read books based in, like, that time period. I'm like, yeah, courthouses, they hung people. If not inside, then outside.
That made me think of Paranorman.
Yeah.
I was just relating to, like, all these different movies as I was watching. Which helped.
That's good. So the teacher is, like, getting mad at him and, like, looking at him, and there's a certain way that Cole does not like to be looked at, which is, like, a look like, okay, kid, you're crazy. Because everybody looks at him that way. He said the only person that doesn't look at him that way is his mom, because she doesn't know or something like that. And so he ends up calling the teacher Stuttering Stanley, like, yelling it at him. And the only way I can think that Cole knows that is a little bit later on. We get a scene where there's a play and he's in the dressing room talking to a woman. The teacher says something about a fire that had occurred when that kid went to school, and my only thing is, one of the people that had died in that fire had to have told Cole that that teacher used to be called Stuttering Stanley. It's like the only reason as to why, because I'm like, he's not psychic.
No.
So, because even though he hasn't admitted yet that he talks to ghosts, like that's that thing where he's like, oh, they hang people, they would take them away from their families crying. Like, how would he know that other than if he talks to dead people or hears they talk to him? Because, you know, you can have someone talk to you and you just don't respond. So I do that sometimes.
I know.
But so he goes home and he is kind of Dr. Malcolm he's there at this point, I believe. Or is this the birthday party? I don't remember what came next. After the school scene. I think it might be the birthday party.
It is. You kind of just jumped a few things, but that's okay.
Well, there's one point where Malcolm is at the house or at the apartment or whatever, and he's trying to earn Cole's trust.
Yeah,
Cole,
that was before the school thing.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, it's in there somewhere. So he's trying to earn Cole's trust, and so he's like, well, we're gonna play a game. And I was like, that's actually a really good kind of trust game. So he says something that he knows, probably from like the file that he got on Cole.
Yeah.
And if he's right, then Cole has to take a step forward, and if he's wrong, then Cole takes a step backwards. And if he gets to the door, he can leave. If he gets to the chair, he sits down and talks. And so he does take some steps forward, and he takes some steps back. And eventually, Dr. Malcolm does get him talking. And we learn a lot about his dad, which we don't ever see his dad in this movie.
No.
We learn
it's like, no dad, just mom.
Yeah, we learn he really loves his dad. Like, there was a lot that his dad did that he really loved. And you can tell he misses his dad, and I think that's part of his problem. I mean, his major problem is seeing dead people. But part of his problem is the missing his dad part.
I mean, yeah, when a kid gets, like, if parents get divorced at that young of an age, and dad, like, leaves town completely, and you don't get to see them, it's hard. It's a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah. But then it's the whole school thing, and then we get to see the birthday party for one of the kids. I don't remember which kid it is. But he's there, and he's sitting there doing this magic trick with this one kid, and the kid's like, I'm not impressed, I want my penny back. And then he's kind of like hiding. He doesn't really want to hang out with the other kids. We hear Mom talking about how he doesn't get invited places very often. And then he hears something upstairs. We don't really hear it. Not until he gets closer. So he makes his way upstairs, and right at the top of the stairs, there's like this little door. And in there, we hear this voice, like somebody sounds like they're trapped. But the door is open. So these two kids, his tormentor, Tommy or whatever, and the kid whose birthday it is, notice him up there. So they head up there, and they're kind of making fun of him. And then they trick him and shove him in the little closet thing where the voice was coming from. And so he starts screaming because he knows what's in there. And Mom ends up coming up, and she can't get the door open at first. Like, no matter what, she cannot get it open. And my thought, like, when that is happening is, like, isn't she pushing the door? Like, it did not look to me like she was pulling it. Because it's a pull-open door. But, I don't know, maybe it was just so much of a freak out, I couldn't tell which direction she was trying to pull the door.
It was, like, both directions,
yeah.
I mean.
But she couldn't get it open, and Cole is screaming. And then, finally, after he stops screaming, like, completely silent, she is able to open the door. She takes him out. They go to the hospital. We do get to see a little bit of Malcolm seems like his relationship with his wife is not going so well. 'Cause she did kind of say something about him putting his work before everything else. And
she's like, I'm second. I'm like,
yeah.
Ooh.
And so we see an anniversary dinner where she's just very distant and, like, won't talk to him. And all she says is, like, happy anniversary, and leaves. And, like, she's already had dinner and dessert, and she's ready to go.
She's, like, out.
Yeah, by the time he shows up. So then we get to see Cole, or the doctor, who is played by M. Night Shyamalan. He's talking to Mom, saying that, you know, nothing happened. Like, there wasn't a seizure, nothing, but we did notice some marks on the body. On his body.
So we need to talk to you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit.
And
they think that she's, like, abusing him or something, and she's like, why would I ever do that?
Yeah. And she is pissed, and she thinks that it's the other kids doing it to him. Eventually she realizes that. But it's the ghosts doing it to him.
Yes.
So Dr. Malcolm comes while Cole is still sitting in the hospital bed, and they've developed enough of a relationship now through the few times that they've visited with each other that Cole admits that he sees dead people and just, like, walking around like regular people.
He's like, and they don't know they're dead.
Yeah. And that's the big thing, is, like, they don't know. They just know these people aren't talking to them. He's the only one that can see them. So they're, like, really confused and stuff. And not right away, but eventually Malcolm does, like, point out, well, what if they just need help? Because at first, Malcolm thinks he's crazy. Just like everybody else.
He's like, he's hallucinating, he's delusional, maybe he has childhood schizophrenia. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And he also says that there's a possibility that he needs to be institutionalized, and I'm like, oh my god, that's gonna be even worse.
I'm like, no, don't do that.
Yeah. So Cole gets home, and that's where we see Mom call one of the other kids' parents and be like, I want you to keep your son and his friends away from my son, because she notices the scratches on his back.
And the hole in the shirt.
Yeah.
His sweater. Because
it, like, cut clean through his shirt. And his sweater. And that sweater looked real thick. So, then Cole, like, wakes up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. And he's, like, staring down the hall, like, dancing. And you know he's probably afraid of the ghosts. But this is, like, the first time we get to see one. So it takes about 45 minutes for that first incident with the ghost to happen, where he gets, like, trapped in the little closet. And then it takes about 10 minutes from there to see the first ghost.
I was so pissed. This is one of my jump scares I jumped at. I was like, son of a bitch.
So he goes down the hall, goes to the bathroom, and we see somebody, like, walk past the bathroom door. Is that the one that got you? Or when she turns around?
Yes, it was the one by the bathroom walking by, because it was, like, that loud note, and I'm like, what the hell?
And that one's such a classic jump scare, too.
I know!
Is the ghost walking by the door.
I know. I was like, it's been a long time since I forgot about it. And I was like, God damn it.
So he notices it, obviously, and then so he goes into the kitchen because he thinks it was his mom, because she's about the same height, same color hair. And she turns around, and she's, like, all messed up. I don't remember exactly what happened to her, but she's like, oh, her wrists are slit.
She slit her
That's
wrists,
right.
Yeah.
And she, like, shows him, and she's, like, yelling at him, chases him down the hall. And from there, we start to see quite a few ghosts.
Yeah, I like how he hides this. This made me giggle a little bit, because I'm like, yeah, I probably did the same thing. He hides in his little tent that he has in his room. Yeah. It says, do not enter. And it's surrounded by all these religious statues.
Yeah.
And I'm just cracking up, like, I would do the same thing.
Well, he's just like, any of them that will help. Like, because they're not all just Jesus. Like, there were so many different kinds in there. He was just trying to look for any kind of help he could. There is one ghost. Is an older boy who he like goes into the bedroom. When we see him go into the bedroom, Cole kind of sees him too, and then he ends up coming back out, but we don't see when he comes back out. And then he like notices Cole and like nods his head, said, "Come on, I'll show you my dad's gun." And then he turns to go back in the bedroom, and he has like a big huge hole in the back of his head, meaning he was playing with the gun and killed himself, or killed himself on purpose, one of the two. That's one of the ghosts.
The ones after the little play that he had.
Yeah, the
were
three
at the
hanging
school.
The three hanging. Which is a woman, a man, and a little boy, I think it was.
Yeah, it was somewhat his younger child.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was a boy or a girl. And this is where, like, after this play, he's talking to Malcolm, and he's like explaining, like, you know, you feel the cold spots, you feel the goosebumps. Like, he's explaining the feeling of a ghost being in the same room.
He's like, could you help me, like, with this?
Yeah. And there's something in there that Cole says that reminded Dr. Malcolm of Vincent, the original guy at the beginning of the movie, the older guy. And so he ends up going home, and he's listening to tapes of his time with Vincent. And there's one point in the tape where he leaves the room, and Vincent's in the room by himself. So then he comes back. And so he's listening to that point in time where someone is not in the room. Or where he's not in the room with Vincent. And he turns it up all the way, and he notices that there's someone on that tape speaking Spanish.
Yes.
So then he starts to finally believe Cole. And I think they meet up at the church again.
Yes.
And that's where he kind of talks to Cole, and Cole realizes, oh, you believe me now. And then this is where Malcolm is like, maybe they need help. Like, you're the only one they can talk to. Maybe you need to help them. And
just listen.
Yeah, that whole conversation. And then after this one is one I vividly remembered, is the sick girl.
Oh, yeah, but it's a young Nisha.
Yeah.
Recognized her.
Yeah. This one is one I vividly remembered, and I remembered it, I don't know why I remembered it so well. But, so, he's playing in his tent, his little fort, and he, the clasps start coming off.
Yeah.
And so we follow the clasps, and all of a sudden there she is, and she's like throwing up. Like, chunky, gross throwing up. And so he books it, but then he realizes that he like remembers what Malcolm said, so he goes back and he talks to her. And I guess he gets some sort of information, like where she was or something like that. So him and Malcolm decide to go to her funeral. And so they get there, and little sister's outside, which I don't know. Maybe she said that she had a little sister, and maybe they look somewhat alike, because he's like, oh, that's her little sister when he walks by. So I'm like, well, how did he know that? That's one thing I was curious, is like how he knew it was her little sister sitting outside on the swing. But whatever. So they're walking around at the little funeral reception that's at the house, and we hear from a couple of people just like talking. Nobody's specifically talking to Malcolm or Cole. They're just kind of talking amongst themselves. We do hear that the younger sister is starting to get sick. The older sister died from cancer, is what they think.
They think.
Yes. So Cole ends up going upstairs with the camera angle right before it.
Yeah.
Because you can see her arm, the arm of the actress, underneath the bed. I did notice that. Because I knew that one was coming. Because, like I said, this is one part I remembered so well. So I knew she was under the bed before. Because I remembered it so well. So I was, like, already looking at the bed. And I saw her arm moving. So I think they messed that shot up a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But I mean, if you're not looking at the bed already, then you don't notice her arm there. But I was already looking at the bed because I remembered it. But so she ends up giving him like this box, and I guess she tells him, take the box to my dad. So he takes it to the dad, and the dad like sits there and watches it during the funeral. And she's putting on a little play. This is while she's still alive. She's sick. Putting on this little play, and she doesn't turn the camera off. She hears someone coming. She goes lay back down in bed, and Mom comes in, and she's getting her lunch ready. Then we notice she sets the lunch down like right in front of the camera, and then goes out and comes back in, and she has Pine Sol in her hand, and she pours Pine Sol into the food. And so she was the one that
just making her sick.
Yeah, like she was doing it on purpose, making her sick, and Dad like realizes it and goes, and he's not very happy. So my guess is he ends up rescuing the younger sister because Mom ends up going to jail with that proof right there.
It's like, there's proof that you killed her, pretty much.
Yeah.
And Cole gives this little puppet that he took from her room.
Yeah.
It's like a little, like a Joker.
Yeah.
And he gives it to the little sister. He's like, she said like that you like this one, so she wanted you to have it.
Yeah.
Like, that's cute.
The little girl, it was so sad because she's like, is Kira coming back? And he's like, no. And I think she was scared of her sister just from like her being sick all the time. And then once she became the ghost, made her a little bit even more scared. So she's upset that her sister's going to be gone, but she's also kind of relieved that the ghost is going to be gone. So it's a little bit of both there, I think.
Yeah.
So then, what is it, the play?
Yeah, the play, and like Cole is like sitting there. It looks like he's talking to somebody, but then his teacher comes in. He's like, "Who are you talking to?"
Yeah.
And you see the lady. It's a lady. She gets up, and you see like half her face is like burned.
Yeah.
And, like her back is burned.
And that's the one thing I kind of did like about these is like the way that he did the ghosts is the first time you see them, they look normal. You don't know that they're ghosts. But then the second time you see what killed them. So, I did like that kind of reveal type thing. Plus it kind of cuts down on the makeup costs so that you only have to do it the one time.
That's true. That does cut down on costs.
Yeah. And then that's where the teacher tells him, there was this fire, and he goes, I know. So that's like the only thing that I can think of is one of the people that died in the fire told Cole about the stuttering Stanley.
Yeah.
So.
He gets to play King Arthur, which I think is cute.
Yeah. And I liked that, we get to see Malcolm is there, and he's like super happy because he thinks, he's helped Cole, and so now he sees him starting to like come out of his shell a little bit because now he knows he doesn't have to be afraid anymore.
Yeah.
Of the ghosts. I think that's what that little scene there is for. So then Malcolm goes home. Throughout this whole thing we had seen him struggling with his wife having a friend visit, stuff like that.
Watching the wedding video.
Yeah, watching the wedding. We see the wedding video a couple of times. There's one point where the wife is giving a present to the one friend that visits for his birthday, and they're in her shop. And the glass ends up breaking, and they both like come out and look, and we see Malcolm walking away.
Because he punched the glass.
Yeah. But so then after the little play, we see Cole and his mom. We see like this wreck, and then
because traffic is stopped both ways.
Yeah, it's like, and it looked like there was two wrecks because like there was the one that it showed with the two cars, and the police officer talking to one of the guys, and then the traffic stop behind them, and then on the other side the traffic stop. But then it looked like further down there was another fire truck down there, so I don't know, maybe that fire truck was trying to get up there or whatever. But, you know, it's kind of impossible when traffic is stopped on a two-way street.
Well, one accident was caused because of the other one.
Yeah, so I think that's what it was. So Cole seems like he's upset with his mom for not being able to come to the play, because she works 2 jobs trying to provide for him and stuff. But really, he wants to tell his mom his secret about the ghosts. And so he finally does. And I say the 2 of them in this scene were great. He finally tells his mom, because she had been asking about this bumblebee pendant that she thinks he kept moving like throughout the whole movie. And finally he's like talking about grandma, how she came and saw a dance recital one night, and grandma was in the back of the audience, so she couldn't be seen, and so mom didn't know. And he's just like gushing out this whole thing, and she's crying, and he starts it off by saying, you know, that accident up there, somebody got hurt, she died. And he's like, well, how do you know that? How do you see that far? And he's like, well, she's standing by my window. And we see it must have been car on bike, because we see this woman with like a biker's outfit and a helmet on, and just like blood coming from her head. But yeah, I really did like that scene between Cole and mom, where she's just like bawling, and as he's explaining the what he can do.
Yeah. And, like, he explains, like, you know, how, like, his grandma's, like, proud of his mom and everything, you know. So it kind of, like, breaks her down, gives her a little closure, I guess.
Yeah. And then also, kind of, I guess it's, like, his last time seeing Dr. Malcolm. He's like, well, you've helped me, can I help you a little bit? Because he had talked to him about his marriage and stuff. And he's like, just try talking to her when she's asleep. So Malcolm gets home that night, and he sees that his wife is asleep on the couch, and he, you know, just starts talking to her. She's got the wedding video on, and she kind of responds, like, she says a couple things to him, like, why did you leave me? And he's like, I haven't left. And then she drops his wedding ring, and then he, like, looks down at his hand, and he's like,
there's no ring.
So this is the big plot twist, the big plot
yes.
twist. He was dead.
He's dead the entire freaking time. I was irritated.
You know, watching it, knowing the twist, the hints are there.
Oh, they are. You just gotta pay attention.
The biggest hint, I think, is him running down the street, chasing a child, and no one doing anything.
No one saying a word.
That's the biggest hint. But then there's some other hints and stuff.
The one about, he's supposed to be there with, you know, like, he was there in the scene with, Cole's mom and them at the hospital, and they're talking, like, oh, I want you to talk to the social worker. And it's like, well, there's a psychologist right there. Why can't you talk to him?
Yeah.
There's that.
That's another one. So yeah, he, like, you kind of see flashbacks from the whole movie of him realizing he's dead. And
can't open the door because he's blocked by books.
Yeah.
And everything. And you see the flashback of, you know, he's actually, like, dying, bleeding out on the bed.
Yep. And then so he reaches up and feels, you know, oh, there's all the blood. There's the bullet hole. Because, like Cole said, ghosts only see what they want to see. They only realize what they want to realize. So, for me, this is, like, the big plot hole for me. So we were talking about that time jump of when the shooting happened and when, you know, it says the next fall. How long a time is that? Because does he go that long, like, just not talking to anybody? Like, he tries to talk to people and nobody wants to talk to him. He's just, like, all of a sudden... Or is there, like, some grace period for ghosts where you don't really... Like, I don't know how ghosts work. There's so many different rules for ghost movies. Like, some of them, they'll come back immediately. Do some of them not come? Like, does their ghost not come back immediately? Like, that type of thing. I'm just really curious.
I mean, like, there's a lot of different ways, because you think of the little girl, she had just died, and she had already seen going to Cole.
Yeah, so it's like, and there's the question of how it works. So, that was my one big thing, like, he was dead for this entire time, and what, did he just go about his day pretending that, you know, people were just ignoring him for months on end? Like, at least 6 months on end? Mm-hmm. He thinks people are ignoring him? And then my other question, since he's dead, how did he get Cole's file? Because he, at the beginning, when we see him going to go visit Cole the first time, he has Cole's file.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious as to that. Unless maybe before he died, he was supposed to be...
he did say he missed an appointment.
Yeah, so maybe he had Cole's file before then. And so... Those are just a couple things that I'm like, those are pretty big ones that I'm like, those
like, how long?
Yeah.
Was he hiding in his basement doing research or something?
Yeah.
I just, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's that.
But yeah, those are my two, like, major questions. There's a couple smaller ones, like you see some oops of people looking, like, directly at him when they're not supposed to be, because they're technically not supposed to see him because he's dead. There's a couple of those oops in there. But I mean, for the most part, those two questions of, like, how long, like, the time period, how does that work? And then the file, like, how did he get the file? But yeah. So, that's it, really, for this one. So, the music for this one is by James Newton Howard. He has 165 composing credits. Few of them that you'd probably recognize him for. King Kong from 2005, Batman Begins from 2005, The Hunger Games from 2012. He actually did all of them. Mm-hmm. And then Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. He's all three of those, because you know there's the third one coming out. So he's done a lot of major things.
Lots.
I can attest to his work on Batman. Loved it. His work on Hunger Games. Great. Like, I mean...
Oh, same.
Every movie that I've seen that has his music, I love the music, so...
Yeah, when I saw in the credits, I was like, oh, okay, this should be good then.
Yeah. So I definitely love his music. He does a great job. No complaints there.
Nope, I got none.
So then, especially like this movie, I really did like it. Like it helped build that suspense. And then, like you said, there was even a jump scare that got you. I mean, I remembered most of this movie pretty well, so none of the jump scares got me. Plus, it's very rare for a jump scare to get me. So
I was like, and I'm pretty good at catching them, but that one got me.
I'd say he did a really good job.
This kind of reminds me of like the end of the Friday the 13th one.
Oh yeah.
Like, I knew it was coming, but it still got me.
So the first thing that he ever worked on was an Elton John fanfare video that came out in 1981. So I was like, that's kind of cool. He helped Elton John, the great Elton John. And then he is currently working on a few things that I'm actually kind of excited for. Jungle Cruise. It's coming out next year. It's supposed to come out at the end of this year, but, delays. Because of dumbness.
Yes, I know. I'm like, don't get me started.
And then Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the third one. I don't know what this subtitle name for that one's going to be, so right now it's just Fantastic Beasts 3.
Yeah, they got a lot of questions to answer with that one.
Yeah, so.
Especially at the end of the second one.
Yeah.
Like, you left me with more questions than answers.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited for both of those. Jungle Cruise I'm pretty excited for because I love that ride at Disney World.
Oh, it's fun.
So I'm pretty excited to see how they do the movies, because most of the time their movies that are based off their rides are really good. Like, I love Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's based off their rides, so...
As like the ones now. I mean, some of the ones they did in like it was like the 90s, I think, were not too good, but
Yeah, Tower of Terror.
there we go. I was gonna mention that one.
It's that one for me is a guilty pleasure. For sure.
That's like my friend made me watch it because she loved that movie too. And I'm like, really?
It's just one of those, it's not great, but it's so fun.
It's true.
And I love the
That's
ride. So, but yeah, so those are a couple movies that he has coming up. And then he was nominated for 6 Oscars, but he hasn't won any as of yet. I'm hoping maybe soon he'll get one because I really think he deserves one with the amount of movies that he's done that are just like the music that he does for them. Sometimes it's just amazing. So, not even sometimes, like most of the time. I don't even think off the top of my head I could name one that I was disappointed in the music in. So, but yeah, so James Newton Howard, we will be having him again for sure. Comparison. I mean, there's not really much to compare it to. I guess you could compare it to some other M. Night Shyamalan movies, like some of the camera angles and, like you said, the big plot twist that he has usually in his movies.
Always.
I don't really remember a big plot twist in Split.
It doesn't have to be big.
It's
There's
like,
always a twist.
there wasn't really much of anything. I guess there is, yeah.
I haven't seen it, so don't tell me.
No, it's because it's about the multiple personalities.
Yes.
It's one of the personalities is a twist, I guess.
Okay.
I guess that could be counted. I just didn't really see it as a twist, personally.
Okay. I was like, my brother keeps trying to get me to watch that one, too.
That one is good. I did like that one. I mean...
I guess I'm going to have to do what I did with this one and just cut off the director part of it for me.
But I think it's the main actor. You know, that guy that plays Professor X in the new X-Men
Oh, I
movies?
love him.
He does such a great job in that movie.
Wonderful.
So, he really made it for me. And, like, going into it, I didn't know nor care that it was an M. Night Shyamalan movie. So, but yeah, Unbreakable and Glass, those are alright. But, I mean, and then a couple other M. Night Shyamalan movies, I guess, they've all, got that similar kind of feeling to them. Kind of that mystery type feeling. The Visit, he's working on his way back up. It's kind of a found footage, like Paranormal Activity. It's alright. It's not great.
I was like, we're not going to mention probably his worst one, are we?
What? Oh, the Airbender Avatar one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when he hit his downfall and nobody wanted to give him a movie anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, Avatar is just it's such a gem, like the TV series, and it's so wonderful. It's just so well done, and then the people get excited about the movie, and then the movie's shit.
Like Dragon Ball Z when they decided to make a live action of that one.
Exactly. It's like a lot of people haven't forgiven him for that one.
I mean, for me, overall, M. Night Shyamalan is a hit and miss, so most of the time when I'm going to see new movies, I don't care who directed it. I'll just go see it if it looks interesting. So that kind of helps me get through movies like his. Like, I tend to, unless it's on this list, I tend to not look at the director. So, like, I don't care.
Probably a good thing.
But yeah, so that's all really, because there's not much to compare this to, like we said. Trivia. So the one that I actually have two. The one that I had about the money. So up until the new It movie, It Part 1 and 2, that just got released last year and the year before, this was the highest grossing horror movie ever. But It came out and beat it. So, I thought that was kind of cool. This, like 20 years, this had that title, highest grossing horror movie. And I can definitely see why. Like, I enjoyed this movie a lot, so I can see that. Then the other one that I had is, he used red in this to, like, signify what the ghosts had touched. It's like anything a ghost touched was red. So, like, the door handle that Bruce Willis kept trying to open was red. That carpet or blanket that he used for his tent was red because the ghosts touched that trying to get to him. Stuff like that. That's
like his sweater.
Yeah. Because they ripped through the sweater. That's all I got. Yeah. That's all the trivia I have.
So, there's a couple things that Shyamalan based this off of. He said he pitched it first as a crossover between The Exorcist and Ordinary People.
Okay.
I was like, okay. I haven't seen Ordinary People, but, it's on my list to watch.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
I think it's a Best Picture winner.
Okay.
So I need to watch it. And then he also, this made me giggle, because I love this TV show. It's based off an episode. He got the idea of based off the episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I love that TV series. I loved it. Because it was like little horror films when you're a little kid.
Yeah.
And it's about,
like the R.L. Stein ones.
Yes, exactly. And this one is about the main characters don't know that they're dead, and everyone's just ignoring them, and they don't realize that they're dead until the very end. And there's only one person who can see them.
Gotcha.
So it's really based off that episode. So now I have to go back and find that episode somewhere. It's called The Tale of the Dream Girl.
Huh, okay. That's pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty cool too. There's one more thing I wanted to say. Nope, I think that's it.
Okay.
There's not much with this.
Yeah. I mean, most of it is once you know that twist, that's about it.
Yeah.
So, where it has been on the list before and where it's at now. In 2010, it was number 130. 2012, it was number 143. 2014, it was number 163. 2016, number 170. 2018, number 161. And as of today, when we are recording, it is number 163 again. So I think it's just going to kind of chill in this area.
Probably.
In my personal opinion, this one and Split are the best of the M. Night Shyamalan movies, like the ones that he's done.
Yeah.
None of the rest of them really stand up to these two. And they're just both their own thing. Like, there's not really any comparing them. For me, at least. Some people might compare them. But
I mean, I've watched Split. I will. I just gotta cut off the director part.
Yeah. It's good. I like that one. I'm kind of hit or miss on M. Night Shyamalan. There's some of them that I'm like, that's not good. Some of them that I'm like,
I tried giving
so
him
good.
a chance. I really did. But it just kept burning me.
That's okay.
I was like, I'm done.
But yeah, I think this one will probably stay here where it's at because it's a really well done ghost movie.
Yeah.
You really, unless you know the twist, you really don't see it coming. Like, it's definitely not something you know is gonna happen. So, it's also one that you can say the spoiler of without context and nobody knows what you're talking about unless they've seen the movie. You say Bruce Willis was dead the whole time. Nobody will know what you're talking about unless they've seen the movie.
It's like, oh.
Unless, like, if you're sitting there talking about Sixth Sense and then you say that, then that's a spoiler. But if you're just, like, out of context, Bruce Willis is dead the whole time. Like, just out of the blue say that, then nobody's going to know what you're talking about. Unless they've seen it, so. So previously, number 160, the 2010 list, Ben-Hur from 1959. The 2012 list, The King's Speech from 2010. The 2014 list, A Beautiful Mind from 2001. The 2016 list, The Big Lebowski from 1998. The 2018 list, There Will Be Blood from 2007. And as of today, when we are recording, Warrior from 2011 is number 160.
And that's coming up soon.
Yeah, that's another boxing movie. Be, what, our third one?
I think. Yeah. Yeah, third one. Yeah, you're right.
Rocky and...
$1 Million Baby.
Yeah. So yeah, third one. So yeah, that's, I think all of those are on our list.
I don't think King's Speech is.
Oh yeah, I think that one just jumped on there because it had just been released. That happens sometimes.
It's also a Best Picture winner.
Yeah.
Good movie. I liked it.
I'll say that. That happens sometimes where they jump on there because they just got released, so. Let's see here. So, podcast trivia. Director, I'm pretty sure this is the only M. Night Shyamalan movie on our list. Don't think we'll be having him again. But I mean, for me personally, this is a good one to have on the list. So, this is the one I would have put on the list. So then, actors. This is the second time we have seen Bruce Willis, but not the last. We will see him again. We had him before in 12 Monkeys. And then Toni Collette, this is the second time on our list we've had her, because she was in Mary and Max. And then we had her in one of our Halloween events in Hereditary. And then Haley Joel Osment. I think this, I'm not sure, we might have him again. We'll see. But I really, I know him other than this movie because he voices Sora in the English version of Kingdom Hearts. So if you don't have the Japanese version, which is the original format, he voices the English version. So, and it's literally like 4 years after this movie that he did it, and I'm just like, I was sitting there watching this movie, and I'm like, he is so good. Like, in 4 years, he does this voice, and I'm just like, what? Because I'm like sitting there trying to hear the voice, and I can't hear it. He does such a good job. A couple other ones that we will be having again. Samia Shoaib. I'm not sure when we'll be having her, but we will have her in at least one more movie. I think, if I remember correctly, she was the one who was in the jewelry shop looking at the ring with her fiance.
Oh, okay.
I think we'll be having her again. And then a couple of them that we've had before. Kate Kearney Patch. She was in Dead Poets Society. Don't remember exactly who she was. Nico Woolyard. He was in Logan. He did some of the stunts in Logan. And then he was, I believe it was the little boy that was hanging. Because I think it was a little boy, because I think that was him hanging in the courthouse scene. I think that was him.
Oh, okay. I was like, now I remember when we'll see Haley.
When?
It's gonna be a long time. It's Forrest Gump.
Oh, okay. It's been a
He
long
was
time.
little.
I was gonna say, it's been a long time since I've seen that, and he was way smaller, so, like...
He was little.
Kid. And then the last one that we have had before is Jodie Dawson. She was also in 12 Monkeys. And then a couple of people that I recognized from some other things. So the Kate Kearney Patch, I did not recognize her from Dead Poets Society. I actually recognized her from the TV show How to Get Away with Murder. So that was just where I saw her. The Tormentor kid, Tommy or whatever.
Yeah.
The actor's name is Trevor Morgan, and he is actually the kid that ends up getting lost in Jurassic Park 3 that they have to go rescue. I recognized him immediately. Donnie Wahlberg, like we said, New Kids on the Block, but he does a lot of horror movies. He was in Saw, in a few Saw movies, and then he was also in Dead Silence. Greg Wood, he's in quite a few M. Night Shyamalan movies, but I recognize him from some episodes of SVU and How to Get Away with Murder. And then a couple of the stuntmen in this movie, Like I said, the Nico Woolard, he was one of the people that was hanging, and then also his dad, Keith Woolard, he was the guy that was hanging in the courthouse. They do stunts for a lot of movies. Nico did stunts for Black Panther and Jurassic World, and then also, of course, Logan. And then Keith did stunts for Iron Man, which we talked about in our superhero event, and Civil War. Captain America Civil War. So, we've seen them before, we just don't know it, because they're doing the stunts. So, but yeah, that's like all the actors, really. It's a lot. There's a lot of big people, not even really big, but a lot of common actors in this movie.
Yes.
Like I said, we're going to have James Newton Howard again for music. As of right now, this is our only film from 1999. That will be changing. We will have quite a few coming up. This is our 70th drama film, because, you know, everything has to have the category of drama.
Seriously.
16th mystery, 14th thriller, and then, because I am counting it as a horror movie, because it is, our 8th horror, if we're including our events and stuff. So, sorry, I just gotta type it in there. And then, let's see, votes-wise, this is actually pretty high up on the list. It is in 5th place for movies that we've watched, including event movies, at right around 880,000. It's below Finding Nemo, which is in 4th. 3rd is Kill Bill Volume 1. 2nd is Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. And then 1st, right now, still is Shutter Island. So it's pretty high up there. It's a very popular movie.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's 50,000 above The Truman Show, so it'll probably be sitting in 5th for a while. This is with 4 other movies at an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. Dead Poets Society, Donnie Darko, Ben-Hur, and Lilo and Stitch. So sitting in some decent company. The only one I wasn't a biggest fan of on that list there is Ben-Hur. Other than that, pretty good company. For me.
I figured. I was like, I didn't mind Ben-Hur. It was just long.
Yeah, it was really long. And then for Metacritic, this is sitting with 3 other movies at a 64%. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Elf, and Gremlins. So for me, really good company. You put them all in. So all the ones that I love, putting them at 64%. I don't care. Whatever. But yeah. So that's all of our podcast trivia. So, favorite line? Let's see. Who picked last time?
I did.
Yeah.
I have 5.
I have 7.
Mine are random ones. Like, this one. Do you know why you're afraid when you're alone?
Oh, I wrote that one down too.
They don't have meetings about rainbows.
Yeah, I have that one too.
This one just cracked me up because I thought it was funny because, you know, not the movie, but the musical. And he says, I thought it was better than Cats.
Oh, yeah.
And I just laughed. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so relevant right now.
Well, everything is better than Cats the movie.
Musical I like. I was like, I could watch the musical, but the movie...
Let's say, if the actors come out and make fun of themselves on the stage of the Oscars, you know it's a terrible movie.
Yeah. I mean, they deserve those Razzies. Some magic's real. And this one just kind of hit me a little bit. Grandma says hi.
Yeah. So, right, you said that one and that one. I see dead people. Just
classic.
I would say that all the time after I saw this movie when I was little.
Why does that not surprise me?
Because I repeat horror movie lines all the time. You know, most people quote not scary movies. I quote the scary ones.
See, you quote horror films and I quote musicals, so it's fine.
They don't see each other. They only see what they want to see. They don't know they're dead. How can you help me if you don't believe me? I'm ready to communicate with you now. I thought that was so funny. I'm like, I need to do that. And then, you were never second. But I think I'm gonna pick, because it's... I didn't remember the line. But as soon as he said it, I was like, yes, I love that line, and it's my favorite. Is, do you know why you're afraid when you're alone? I love that line. So I'm gonna go with that one. So what is your rating?
If you had asked me my rating the first time I'd watch it, it'd be way lower than I'm giving it now. I'm giving it a 7.
Okay.
Surprising for me, because I'm not a big fan of Shyamalan's movies, but this is probably one of his best ones. I haven't seen Split yet, so I can't say. But yeah, this is one of his best ones, I will say. There's really good acting in here. I will say it took away a little bit, like the plot holes we just talked about. And just some of the makeup effects I saw were like, they were just little, subpar.
Yeah, like
some of them
the cuts on her wrists were.
Yes, that was the big one. Yeah. I was like, really?
Because most of the rest of them are kind of far away, but those you get like zoomed in on. So
yeah, that could have been better, and yeah, it fits better with my 7s.
Okay. I gave this one an 8. I mean, it's a really high 8 for me, but like I had said before, my 9s and 10s are reserved for movies that I watch all the time. And I did watch this one a lot when I was little, but I don't watch it so much anymore. I'll probably get back to watching this at least once a year now that I remember how good it is, because I do enjoy this movie a lot, so it's definitely a high 8 for me. But like you said, some of the plot holes, then also, I feel like once you know the twist, it kind of takes a little bit away from it. You have to like push that out of your mind and not remember. But since it's such a big twist, it's hard to not remember that. So that takes away from multiple viewings, is the plot twist, like knowing that. And then makeup. There's a couple of camera angles in there that I wasn't a big fan of, like when she's talking to M. Night Shyamalan doctor guy.
Yeah, that was weird.
With having the little toy in the camera angle, that was irritating. That's one of them that I noticed. And then the under the bed jump scare fail. Now that I actually noticed it this time, that's kind of sad for me. Because I'm like, it could have been done so well, and then you look down there and you see her arm, and I'm like, oh. But that's okay. I mean, overall, I love this movie. It's great acting. The music is great. I love the story. Because you definitely, if you've never seen this movie, you don't see that coming.
No, you don't.
And I will say this is I think this is my second favorite performance from Toni Collette. My first favorite is Hereditary. Like, that's my absolute favorite performance from her as of right now. But this one is very well done. Like, the only thing that takes away from that performance for me, for her, is that her accent slips a couple times. But other than that, she does a great job. Haley Joel Osment, great job. Bruce Willis, another great job. And I think there's even, like, in his performance, you can kind of see. Because, he doesn't show emotions very well in this performance, but I think that's part of the being dead. Like, if you don't know you're dead, you don't really, but you are dead, and you just, I feel like ghosts don't really show very many emotions. I don't know, I've never really talked to a ghost, so, anyway. I've seen them in pictures, but that's about it. But yeah, overall for me, this one is an 8. I really enjoy this movie, so yeah. Our next film is No Country for Old Men. And that came out in 2007. I believe we're going back to the Coen brothers again for that one. I think. I don't remember who directed that one.
I was like...
I thought that was one of theirs. I don't know. But yeah,
like,
No
I can
Country...
look real quick.
No Country for Old Men next week. So make sure you check that one out. Our event is coming up, and that is our Harry Potter event. It will be out the last day of July. We will be covering Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2. Part 2 is the one that we skipped on our list at 218. So we'll finally be coming back to that one. So make sure you check it out. We will have both of our guests back, so we have all 4 houses represented. If you would like to become a premium or patron member, you can do so by checking out the links in the show notes. You can do so for just $1 a month, become a premium or patron member. If you can't support us that way, please leave ratings and reviews. Those help us out a ton. Let us know how we're doing, what you guys like, what you don't like. According to YouTube, they don't like that they thought our episode was the whole movie, not a review of the movie. That was a comment I got of people being very rude about it. I feel like this is fuck you, this is bullshit. And I'm like, okay, maybe you should look at the name of the thing before you...
It's like someone doesn't look and follow directions now, do they?
Yeah.
There are those children that like would always ask the question, what are we supposed to do in school? And the teacher would be like, read the damn directions.
Yeah. So yeah, make sure you leave us ratings and reviews. They help us out a lot. Our special monthly episode for June is a movie that Jess thought would have been on the list, but wasn't. Because I just did mine. So hers is Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. And that will be out June 30th. So make sure you check that out. If you're not a premium or patron member, you can get that episode for just $1. If you're a premium or patron, you can get that episode for free with your little membership thing there. If you'd like to talk to us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Or you can email us. All of the links are in the show notes. Our music is by Audiobinger. You can find him on Facebook, YouTube, and his website, audiobinger.net. So until next week with No Country for Old Men, thank you so much for listening. Bye.